All right, what's going on, class? It is your professor, Dr. Jace K. Austin, and welcome to week number 6. That is right, week number 6 of your 7314 class, which is your reference sources and services class. I am going to today do a quick state of the course slash update of the course such and such and such. And then I am going to just talk briefly about some of the popular foreign language materials and apps that you can recommend for patrons when they are asking about foreign languages. So with that said, let's get into it. First of all, I do want to say that your discussion board contributions continue, and I say continue emphatically. They continue to be great, so please keep doing what you're doing. Maybe you might be one of the few that needs to improve a little bit. If I don't find evidence that you actually read the material in your discussion post, then, or at least skim the material, humor me at least. If I don't see any sort of evidence of that, that's probably not going to bode well for you in the long run. I'm certainly not going to give a grade plus, like a B plus or A plus, to somebody who seems to just be half-assing and not actually, building on or sort of interrogating or intermingling or whatever the case may be with the reading material. So if I see that you are just putting down what appear to be blanket statements that don't really reflect that you either read the material or have an understanding of it, then again, that can be something that is an impairment in the long run. Please use your what I need you to do is show me that you are actually thinking when you are doing your discussion board posts. So please keep that in mind. The second thing that I wanted to mention as far as state of the course is that we do have this coming Sunday, on September the 26th, you do have your virtual reference practice and paper due. A few things that I want to say about this. First of all, you all are grad students, and this does say, it says in the directions that you will need to consult APA style. Do not turn this in without a references page. Do not turn this in without a references page bibliography, okay? When you're in APA, you should be using the terminology, you should be using the terminology reference page, but regardless of what actual terminology you're using, the main thing that I want you to, again, keep in mind is do not turn this in without a references page, okay? There's directions say do this in APA for a reason, and you all are grad students. You should be actually building on, interrogating, interpreting, and intermingling with the knowledge and the content of the information that you're actually reading. You should be incorporating some of the readings from the class and some other things that you find through your own research. You should be incorporating that into your write-up for this. So it's not just give me a transcript and then give me a bunch of opinions that you're just pulling out of your head. You do need to be building on the reading material, and that is in fact why you have reading material in the course in the first place. So keep that in mind. I have had students turn it in the past without a references page, and that wouldn't be an APA-ish thing to do, okay? If you have any questions about the assignment, please, as always, go ahead and contact me, austinj@missouri.edu, any place, any time, any town. The final thing that I want to do before we start talking a little bit about foreign language materials is I want you all to, again, keep in mind that you have that semester-long project. Do not wait until the end of the semester to start working on that. Be working on it here and there, a little bit here, a little bit there, until the end of the semester. And I promise you, if you start working on it incrementally throughout the semester, then it's not going to stress you out during the last week or two of school. Okay. So with that said, let's get into some foreign language stuffs. Okay, so what I'm going to be introducing you all to today, and by the way, first of all, as always, you can speed these videos up. I know I'm talking slow. I'm already at 5 minutes, and then also B, again, I'm not actually training you on how to use these things. I'm making you aware of them, putting them into context, and encouraging you to try to make use of them yourself or try to learn them yourself in order to prepare for your career in libraries. So having said that, there is a bit of a cheat sheet in this case that I'm going to be working from, and that's going to be this Medium article here that you can Google. So you can read this yourself by Googling language learning and libraries. Learning a new language is a snap, with free resources from your local library. And this is the URL here. So if you want to, again, Google this or plug in that URL, then you can pull this up yourself. I am not related to Brianna Austin, by the way, so this is not any sort of pay-for-play or quid pro quo or anything like that. In fact, that is not how I spell my version of Austin. It is not like the city in Texas. So having said that, so one thing that I want you all to keep in mind is that, yes, a lot of people, especially if you go into public libraries, you won't see this quite as much in academic libraries, but, and I have experience with both. So in public libraries, you are going to find that you're going to have patrons that come in and they are oftentimes either looking to learn a language, or at the very least, they might be taking trips abroad or something and they want to check out some form of translation book, you know, English to Spanish or English to whatever translation book. And the reason why they might want to check that out as opposed to actually buying it is because, yeah, it saves them money. If you're not actually relocating and don't need to know the language permanently, then it might be, you know, worth your while to just check out the book for a few weeks and then bring it back, as opposed to if you're getting like a language manual, as opposed to actually trying to spend money and buy a language manual. So you will see, particularly in public libraries, and I got that a lot when I was a librarian for a year and a half at a public library, you will see requests for either learning tools for learning languages or for, you know, again, language manuals and hard copy language books that can be used to actually go abroad and look at translations and try your best to actually communicate with the local people or the native people. Now, one reason why people might be actually looking for paperback books or physical materials when they do this sort of thing is because people do oftentimes have sketchy access to internet and Wi-Fi when they are going overseas. So, because it might be natural to just think, well, nowadays you can just Google Spanish word for blank and the word will just appear. But if you don't have access to Google, then that will put a damp in those plans. Okay, so that's why people seek those sorts of things out. Libraries, at least to my knowledge, are generally relying on one of 3 language apps for those who are actually trying to look for a language app in order to learn a foreign language. And those language apps are either Rosetta Stone Library Edition, Duolingo, or my favorite, and the one that you actually see very prominently in the library field, is Mango Languages. So we're going to talk about all of those a little bit. And you can certainly Google all of these and try to find, for instance, tutorials on how to use them and that sort of thing to get more familiar with them. Okay, but Mango is a huge one. Mango actually, they sponsor parties at library conferences, and they always have huge booths at library conferences when you go to the exhibit halls. So Mango, this won't be the last time you hear about Mango Languages. And we are going to actually take a look at Mango Languages right now. So I'm going to pause and be right back. Okay, now this interface for Mango actually looks a little different from the last time I actually used Mango, but So I can access Mango, and this isn't something that we have through Mizzou, through the academic library. So you're going to have to access this through your public library if your public library is a public library that has Mango. But having said that, yeah, this interface has changed a little bit. I am accessing this through Mid-Continent Public Library. But for one thing, there are a lot of languages. So choose one of over 70 language courses. Some are better than others. Of course, Spanish is a very popular one. So with Spanish, you actually, that has one of the most robust courses associated with it, and some of the best features associated with it. But there are quite a few other languages that you can choose from here. I actually want to, if I ever get the time, I want to start learning Swahili, but I don't know when I'm ever going to get the time. It's just been kind of difficult with everything else that we all have to do every day. But you have all of these languages, and there are, some of these are variants of the same language. So I guess dialects of the same language. So you do have, for instance, modern versus biblical Hebrew. You have Latin American Spanish versus Castilian Spanish. You have 4 different forms of Arabic here, and so forth and so on. I am going to go into the Latin American Spanish, and even that, by the way, is a little deceptive. My stepmother and my younger brother, they're Dominicans, so I have Dominicans in my immediate family, plus I consider their family my family. So I've got Dominicans in my family, and the Dominicans in my family will tell you very quickly that the Spanish dialects that the people in Mexico and Central America use are different from what is used in the Dominican Republic. Now, my brother would say they speak Spanish wrong. No. I'm trying to get my brother to do a little better with his choice of words, because he just says, well, they don't speak Spanish correctly. I'm not going to say that. What I am going to say is that there are varying dialects, and so I don't know. Well, I will say that, like, if you go to, there are times when we go out, and now my little brother, he understands all of the Spanish, that all of the quote unquote Central American Spanish, but he will still say it's different from how they speak in the islands, and that there are words that they use that they're not familiar with in the islands. So all of that to say that the Latin American designation they are putting on the Spanish here, it might be a little misleading, but anyway, we're going to go ahead and go into that one. And so now when you actually log in, which I didn't do, I'm using this as a guess, but when you actually log in, you're going to see a whole lot of other different features, and it can actually track your progress and everything. But what you start out with here is you will be brought to this page, and you can actually come in, select the first. I'll skip the tutorial for now. You may want to use the tutorial though. But you can come in here, select the lesson, hit start.
Even if it seems hard now, you'll learn to have conversations like this easily by the end of the chapter. Hola, ¿cómo está usted?
Buenos días. Estoy bien, gracias. ¿Y usted?
Estoy bien también. Gracias.
¡Qué día tan frío! Bueno, que tenga un buen día.
Igualmente. Adiós.
Okay, so again, you kind of saw that. So this is something that you can kind of work through in order to.
Now, let's learn how to say hello.
Hola.
Listen closely one more time.
Hola.
Yeah, this interface has changed a lot. So, but yes, so as you go through the lesson, and it starts out with the small talk and everything, but as you get more advanced, you will get into some more advanced language. And I've never known anyone, honestly, to fully complete one of these modules, one of these language learning courses in Mango, but Mango will swear up and down that, you know, if you complete it and you take it seriously, then you can get to a conversational level of the language. that you are attempting to learn with this program. But hey, it's free. And I've had people tell me that the older versions, at least of it, are fun. Now, the older versions had like some animation and some things of that nature that I'm not seeing here. But still, even with what we've got here, this could be something that
Even if it seems hard now,
is
you'll learn to have
enjoyable.
conversations like this easily by the end.
Get that off there. I am going to pause 1 second to see if I can find something. Yeah, so I'm actually not seeing the feature that I used to see on here, so I think they've done away with it. There used to actually be a really cool feature where it would be like this cartoon that you would kind of interact with in the Spanish language in particular, and I'm not seeing that anymore. So I don't know if they've done away with that or something. Again, this whole interface looks different. But so this is your intro to Mango, and because Mango is made specifically for libraries, this one is very widespread, and it might be the one that your library is using. But yeah, definitely check in with your local public library. Ask them if they have Mango languages. If they do not, then ask them what type of language software app they do have. If they don't have Mango, then more than likely they either have Duolingo or they have Rosetta Stone Library Edition. But again, just check with them because you never know. All right, so let's talk about Rosetta Stone. All right, so the second app that you will commonly find libraries using as far as connecting people with these apps in order to help them learn a foreign language is Rosetta Stone Library Solution. I know that the Salt Lake City Public Library has it randomly. I know that they have it, and I know that the Richmond Public Library, where in Richmond, Virginia, which is where I lived as a teenager. They have Rosetta Stone Library Solution, but aside from that, you may just, again, need to check with your local library, see if they have Rosetta Stone, see if they have Mango, or if they are using something else. But Rosetta Stone Library Solution is it's starting to eat up a little bit into the expansion that Mango had accomplished over the years among the library market. And it's offered through EBSCO, and it has quite a few interesting features. Contents, of course, include 30 languages to meet a range of cultural interests, core lessons for build reading, writing, speaking, and listening skills, focused activities, and the focused activities, those are really important, I think, because those give people the ability to kind of get a dry run and figure out what they're to try to recap and review and actually participate in active learning as opposed to passive learning. And then finally, mobile apps so that people can do these things on the go. And again, they have a very, they don't have 70 available languages, but they do have about 30. And so this is your list right here. You'll see they don't have nearly as many listed, I should say, as Mango, but that doesn't mean that they don't have some pretty cool offerings here, including Spanish and including the Swahili is there. You have quite a few other things that I don't know if Mango even has. Some of these I think even Mango is lacking, but then also there's some things that I kind of like and one of those would be this here. So what is Irish actually? Part of my ignorance, I'm sorry, but I believe that in Ireland the British form of English is kind of spoken there. Maybe it's significantly different enough to where they would classify them as two different languages, but I'm kind of skeptical on that. Okay. So, again, my preference personally is Mango, and they are, again, more of a force within the library field, but Rosetta Stone is starting to carve up and catch up with Mango. So that's another one to keep your eye on. And then, and if you want to kind of get a look at Rosetta Stone Library Solution, then I would suggest going onto YouTube and looking for Rosetta Stone Library Solution. And finally, we're going to go over Duolingo a little bit. Okay, now there is a paid version of Duolingo, but we are actually going to look at the free version, and the free version is available without actually without a library membership. So keep that in mind. So if you come from a library that just lacks for resources and therefore can't even afford to, or just chooses not to have a foreign language app like Mango or Rosetta Stone, then Duolingo is just something that's free over the web anyway, or at least has a free version for over the web. So you should be able to access it, and you should be able to recommend it to patrons who, for whatever reason, for instance, won't sign up for a library card, or at a library that doesn't offer it, or that sort of thing. So fear not, if you work at a library that does not have Mango and does not have Rosetta Stone, you still will have this Duolingo option if a patron comes to you wanting to find a app that will help them learn another language. So this is Duolingo, which is DUOLINGO.com. And when you put that in, you will be brought to this site here, and you can just click Get Started. And there are several different languages here. You actually have a pretty good selection, not as good as the paid databases, but still a good selection nonetheless. And I am going to go with with Spanish, just because that is always my go-to anyway when I talk about these. So you would have heard from me, unless you heard from somebody else before me. I'll do the brain training. That sounds good. And then, as you can see, they're not expecting you to spend a whole lot of time on this app, but they are expecting you to be on the app pretty frequently, like once a day. I'm going to go with the regular, and I'm just going to block that, but no. Not now as far as continuing with Facebook or Google, but if you want your progress kept track of, then you are going to need to sign in with something, but we are not going to do that right now. Learning Spanish for the first time, start from scratch. And I'm going to pause while this loads. Oh, okay. Well, I am
El hombre.
Okay. And which of these is a little girl? That's La Niña.
La niña.
Okay. And as you can see, so this one's pretty basic, but
La niña.
as you go through,
La niña. Niña.
as you go through, you still get, some context here, some interaction with it, and that sort of thing. La Niña, girl. Actually, I think it's a girl. Am I doing this right? It's the girl. Okay. So, yeah, I am clearly not as good at Spanish at all as my little brother or my stepmother or anyone else who speaks Spanish, but I can work on it, and that is what Duolingo can do for you. And again, this one's completely free, and you can set up a profile to start learning for free and keep your progress tracked. Now, we're going to go back. Okay, and first of all, I need to correct myself. There is a fourth thing that we need to look at that's not quite as widespread, but is also starting to make its way into the libraries. And when I said that Richmond had Rosetta Stone, I meant that Richmond has this. And this is Transparent Language Online. So you can actually Google Transparent Language Online, or you can put this in your search field, transparent.com. I believe will get you right there. And one feature that they have that I like is that you can actually try to put in a zip code and see if there's any libraries near you that offer Transparent Language Online. I'm putting in a zip code for my childhood home, and as you can see, so it's saying that the Richmond Public Libraries do have access to the Transparent Language Online. So this one is actually Transparent Language Online. I would hesitate to say whether or not it's better or worse than Rosetta Stone or Mango or any of that, but I will say that this is one that's used very commonly by the military and by people who are going to be ambassadors to foreign countries and that sort of thing. So Transparent Transparent Language Online is another one that you want to kind of keep in the back of your mind at least. And if that's the one that when you get hired, if that's the one that your library works with, then that's the one that you're going to want to master. Okay. So yeah, you really have 4 apps that we've discussed, not just 3. And now we will go back and look at a few other things from that Medium piece. All right. So what we've got left, what we're looking at here, for one thing, yes, most libraries will have, of course, the books and the CD or DVD offerings that you can just use for language learning or for looking up words and that sort of thing. So I would say always have some stocking of these types of materials at your library. If you have identified that your library is lacking, and I don't care if it's public or academic or even K-12, I would say that if your library is lacking any sort of translation material for any particular language, I would say that it's a worthwhile investment to go ahead and acquire that. And it doesn't have to be a common language that people in the United States are commonly trying to learn, such as French or Spanish or German. It can be something, again, like Swahili or Hebrew. So I would say, for instance, if you're at a public library that doesn't have any translation book or CD for Swahili, and you are in charge of collection development in that area, I would say go ahead and pick something up in those areas, okay? So you've got that. A lot of libraries a lot of public libraries, I should say, actually also offer free in-person and, free person classes and conversation groups, so that people, a lot of these are geared toward people who are trying to learn English, actually, in the United States. But there are offerings of this for people who are attempting to learn a new language whose first language is English. So you will have classes for that, conversation groups for that. Book discussions, I haven't seen that a lot, but that doesn't mean that it's not out there and used a lot. And then there are even, quote unquote, even more language resources. So these are a few other things that you may want to look at. And again, if you want to actually check these out, these last few other helpful resources, if you want to learn a bit more about those, then again, I would suggest that you go ahead and try to visit that that Medium page, and read through this yourself. And again, what you would do is to pull up this page is you would Google language learning and libraries, or you would use this URL here. Okay, so we will keep this under 30 minutes, thankfully. I know I'm bumbling through this. I'm tired. I think once I actually got my little baby girl, once I actually brought her in, I just seem to be more tired on the brain than I used to be. I guess because it is due to interrupted sleep. But anyway, hopefully I know I wasn't concise, but hopefully I was at least clear as far as being able to follow me. And I do look forward to hopefully being a little more well-rested and delivering something else next week. But until then, I am Dr. J's Peace and Grace, and watch this space. I'm out.